Hello everyone. In this video we will introduce Kelley's covariation model of attribution. How do people explain their own and others' behaviors? The formal definition of attribution is the description of the way in which people explain the causes of their own and other people's behavior. So, attribution theory is the theory to explain how people explain the reasons of behaviors, either their own or others' behaviors. Indeed, it is a natural human tendency to try to explain why others behave in a certain way. It helps us to react to them properly. Imagine, there is a kid who won't stop staring at you. The first question that comes to our mind is usually, why? Why does she stare at me? We are inherently interested in explaining people's behaviors. Indeed, there are two major directions to explain others' behaviors. The first type of attribution is called external attribution. It means that people explain others' behaviors by situational factors. When you use external attribution, you assign less responsibility to the actor for that behaviors. For example, if your boyfriend is late for an hour but you explain his behaviors by traffic congestion, then you are using external attribution. Another type of attribution is called internal attribution. It means that you explain others' behaviors by personal factors such as personality and attitude. If we do internal attribution, it means that we assign more responsibilities to the person for the behavior. For example, if you think that your boyfriend is late because he is a selfish person, then you are using internal attribution. This classification is important because using internal or external attribution will result in very different reactions to the same behavior. It will greatly influence our social interactions. If attribution affects our reactions to others' behaviors, it is important to know when will a person use internal attribution and when will a person use external attribution. Kelley's covariation model suggests that people will examine three pieces of information to decide whether an internal or an external attribution will be adopted. The first piece of information we need is consistency. When we observe a behavior, we ask if this person usually reacts to the event in the same way in this situation. If yes, the consistency is high. If no, the consistency is low. The second piece of information is distinctiveness. Does this person behave differently in other situations? If yes, then distinctiveness is high. If the answer is no, then the distinctiveness is low. The third piece of information is consensus. In other words, we use other people's behaviors as the reference. So, the question is, do others behave similarly in the same situation? If yes, then the consensus is high. If no, then the consensus is low. The model suggests that when consistency, consensus, and distinctiveness are high, people will make an external attribution. In contrast, when the consistency is high but when the consensus and distinctiveness are low, then people are likely to make an internal attribution. Please note that consistency is very important. If the behavior lacks consistency, then people will not be motivated to explain the behavior since this behavior is likely a random behavior and is difficult to explain. Now, let's use an example to further illustrate the idea of this model. Imagine now you see a waitress in a restaurant flirting with a customer. You can make two different attributions of her behaviors. The first one is internal attribution. You may think that the waitress is flirtatious. The second type of attribution you can make is external attribution. You may explain the behaviors by the customer's attractiveness rather than the waitress's personality. According to Kelley's covariation model, we will ask three questions to decide whether an external or internal attribution will be made. The first one is the consistency question. Will this server also flirt with this customer at other time? Is this behavior a consistent behavior or just a random behavior? The second question is the distinctiveness question. We will ask, will this server also flirts with other customers? Whether she will behave differently in different situations. The third question is the consensus question. We use other people as a reference. Will other servers flirt with this customer too? According to this model, if the server also flirts with this customer at other times, if many other servers also flirt with this customer, and if the server does not flirt with other customers, then people are likely to make an external attribution: the customer is just too handsome. In contrast, if the consistency is high but no other servers flirt with that customer, and this server also flirts with other customers, then people are likely to use internal attribution to explain this behavior. They tend to believe that the server's behavior is caused by her personality. You can think about whether this model makes sense to you. Does our attribution depend on these three pieces of information? To check whether you really understand this concept, please finish exercise 2 on Moodle. Thank you for watching. If you have any further questions about the concepts in this video, please feel free to contact Dr. Jason Chow. Email: tchow@hksu.edu.